You are pouring $20 bottles of liquid lies into your motorcycle engine. Every time you walk into a dealership and grab that brightly colored plastic bottle with a picture of a superbike on it, you are falling for one of the most profitable, carefully orchestrated scams in the automotive industry. The truth about the motorcycle oil market is dirty. 90% of what is sold on the shelves as premium full synthetic is legally permitted deceptive marketing. Manufacturers are taking cheap, chemically altered crude oil, dumping in a basic industry-standard additive package, slapping a motorcycle-specific sticker on the front, and charging you a 300% markup. You are told you have to buy it to protect your warranty. You are told your bike will blow up if you don't use their brand. It is a lie. Today, we are going to dissect the deception your dealership feeds you, expose what is actually inside those expensive plastic bottles, explain the chemistry they don't want you to know about, and reveal the only two oil brands on the planet that are actually worth your hard-earned money. The big lie, Group 3, synthetic. To understand how you are being scammed, you have to understand a legal loophole that changed the petroleum industry forever. In the late 1990s, a major legal battle took place in the United States between two oil giants. The result of that battle fundamentally changed the definition of the word synthetic. It allowed oil companies to take standard, low-tier mineral crude oil, run it through a heavy refining process called hydrocracking, and legally label it as full synthetic. This is known in the industry as Group 3 base stock. It is highly refined conventional oil. It is not synthesized from scratch in a laboratory, but because of that legal loophole, giant corporations like Castrol, Mobil, and even the OEM brands like Honda, Yamaha, and Kawasaki can bottle this chemically altered dinosaur juice, call it full synthetic, and charge you premium prices. You are paying top dollar for an oil base that costs them pennies to produce. The OEM oil trap and semi-synthetic scam. Let's talk about OEM oil. When you buy a brand new motorcycle, the dealer will aggressively push you to use their branded oil. Honda GN4, Yamalube, Kawasaki Performance. They heavily imply that using anything else will instantly void your warranty and detonate your engine. Here is the brutal reality. Yamaha, Honda, and Kawasaki do not own oil refineries. They do not magically brew secret performance oil in Japan. They buy oil from the lowest bidder, usually a massive petroleum conglomerate, put it in a branded bottle, and mark the price up astronomically. Most standard OEM oils are nothing more than cheap, basic, conventional oil. Worse yet is the synthetic blend or semi-synthetic scam. The industry loves this label. Legally, an oil company can mix 90% cheap conventional oil with just 10% synthetic oil and sell it as a synthetic blend. They get to charge you a premium price because the word synthetic is on the bottle, while you get almost none of the benefits. It is an incredibly lucrative revenue stream disguised as required maintenance. The ZDDP conspiracy. If the base oils are mostly cheap crude, what about the additives? This brings us to the ZDDP conspiracy. ZDDP, or zinc dilalkyldithiophosphate, is an anti-wear additive. For decades, it was the gold standard for preventing metal-on-metal wear, specifically protecting the camshaft lobes and the valve train. But as emissions regulations tightened, the automotive industry realized that ZDDP damages catalytic converters over time. So the government forced oil companies to drastically reduce the amount of zinc and phosphorus in their formulas. This was fine for modern cars with roller cams. But motorcycles are different. Many motorcycles have flat tappet cams, high revving engines, and extreme valve spring pressures. They absolutely require high levels of ZDDP to survive. Yet, many generic oils on the market, even those claiming to be for motorcycles, use modern, watered-down additive packages that skimp on zinc to comply with broader environmental standards. They are prioritizing catalytic converters over the lifespan of your engine's top end. The motorcycle-specific mith and shear thinning. But what about the motorcycle-specific label? Motorcycles share their engine oil with the transmission and the clutch. A car does not. Because of the wet clutch, motorcycle oil cannot contain the extreme friction modifiers found in modern fuel-efficient car oil, or your clutch will slip. To meet this standard, oil just needs to pass the JASO MA or MA2 certification. Many companies simply take their standard automotive oil formula, remove the friction modifiers so it passes JASO MA2, put a picture of a Ducati on the label, and double the price. It is the pink tax applied to the motorcycle industry. But the biggest issue is shear thinning. The gears in your motorcycle's transmission literally chop up the oil molecules like microscopic scissors. Cheap oils use low-quality viscosity index improvers, polymers that expand when hot to keep the oil thick. When the transmission gears grind these cheap polymers into pieces, the oil loses its viscosity. A cheap 10W40 oil can permanently shear down to a thin 10W30 within the first 1,000 miles. Your engine loses its protective cushion, your gear shifts become clunky and harsh, and metal wear accelerates. The garbage tire. So, if the OEM oils, the semi-synthetics, and the massive corporate brands selling Group 3 hydrocracked crude are essentially ripping you off, what is actually good? If you are paying $15 to $20 a quart, you should be getting a true synthetic base stock. Group 4 or Group 5. These are oils engineered molecule by molecule in a laboratory. They don't break down under extreme heat. They don't shear to water in the transmission. And out of the hundreds of brands on the market, only 2 consistently deliver uncompromising, true synthetic performance without the marketing deception. Brand 1, Amsoil, the sheer survivor. The first brand actually worth your money is Amsoil. While the massive petroleum giants are playing legal word games with the definition of synthetic, Amsoil relies heavily on true Group 4 PAO base stocks. PAO stands for polyalpha olefin. This is not refined crude oil. This is a pure, engineered chemical compound built from the ground up in a lab. Every single molecule is uniform in size and shape. Because there are no impurities, the oil drastically reduces internal friction, resists oxidation at extreme temperatures, and operates perfectly in freezing conditions. But more importantly for motorcycles, PAO base stocks have legendary shear stability. When you are banging through the gears at 12,000 RPM, the transmission acts like a meat grinder on your oil. Cheap oil breaks down and turns to water. Amsoil's PAO molecular structure resists that mechanical shearing better than almost anything else on the market. They don't need to rely on cheap, fragile polymer thickeners because the base oil itself is incredibly stable. This ensures your gearbox shifts buttery smooth, and your engine retains full film thickness from mile 1 to mile 4,000. Amsoil also explicitly packs their motorcycle formulas with robust levels of ZDDP, ignoring automotive emissions trends to ensure your valve train survives. Brand 2, Motul, the magnetic armor. The second brand, and arguably the absolute pinnacle of motorcycle lubrication, is Motul. Specifically, their 300V line. Motul takes a radically different approach. Instead of PAO, they use Group 5 ester base stocks. Esters are the most expensive, most robust base oils on the planet, originally developed for extreme stress aviation jet turbine engines. Here is the critical, almost magical reason why ester is the holy grail for motorcycles. Ester molecules are polar. They carry a negative electrical charge. Metal engine parts carry a positive charge. This means that Motul 300Vi literally acts like a magnet, physically clinging to the cylinder walls, the cams, and the gears. When you turn off your bike, normal oil obeys gravity and drains down into the oil pan, leaving the top end completely dry. When you start the bike the next day, those first few seconds of metal-on-metal friction cause 90% of all engine wear. It is the most dangerous moment for your engine. But because Motul's ester technology is magnetically bonded to the metal, there is always a dense, protective film of oil waiting. It refuses to drip off. It provides 0-second protection on cold starts, eliminating that initial wear completely. It is an absolute masterpiece of chemical engineering. On top of that, esters can withstand extreme high heat environments that would instantly vaporize cheap conventional oils, making it the undisputed king for high-revving sport bikes and air-cooled V-twins. Conclusion: stop walking into dealerships and paying luxury prices for hydro-cracked dinosaur juice disguised in a racing bottle. Stop falling for the semi-synthetic scam, and stop starving your engine of the zinc it needs to survive. The oil industry thrives on consumer ignorance, misleading labels, and exploiting your fear of voiding warranties. If you're going to pay premium prices, demand premium engineering. Buy Amsoil for bulletproof transmission shear stability and PAO purity. Buy Motul 300V for magnetic cold start protection and ester supremacy. Everything else on the shelf is just expensive marketing designed to separate you from your cash. If this video saved your engine and your wallet, hit the subscribe button. We tear apart the motorcycle industry's lies every week, so you don't get taken for a ride.